trade webinar. If I sound a little messed up, I had a late evening last night. And then I usually don't get too wild or out of control. And about as wild as out of control as I get, I just drank a little bit too much last night. And for no good reason at all, other than me and my wife have 3 kids. One of them's already gone to college, went this year, and then 2 of them were at homecoming last night. So me and my wife stayed up last night. She drinks wine, I drink bourbon, and just waiting on them to come home because you worry about them like to death, right? And then so that's where I'm at. So I went to bed about 1 o'clock last night, and now I'm here to kick this webinar off. All right. So all joking aside, let's get started. All right. So let's take a look at the markets. It is 8:30. I said I would come here and kick this thing off. We'll talk about that's about as wild as I get. I just drink a little bit too much with my wife on a Friday or Saturday. That's it. I'm not usually a big partier. So let's take a look at the indexes. I'm going to start out with the @YM, which is the Dow, okay? So we want to try to figure out which way we're going, and I'll be here with you for the next 30 minutes or so. So the objective of me kicking this off is, number one, just to pretty much go over everything that's happening in the market right now, the overall setups, okay? And then what we'll do is I'll show you a really neat way to scan for some stuff, okay? And hold on, let me hear. I gotta kick this thing here off so that I know how many people. All right, cool. All right, awesome. So we're gonna have a good turnout. There's already a lot of people right here just to listen to me. That's perfect. All right, so the Dow. So you can see we had a nice little sell-off here, right? And then we retraced, and I thought we were going to come up here and tag the cloud. We did not, which implies that we're actually weaker than I think we are. So can everybody see the TradeStation chart? It's a black background, candlesticks, and a bunch of squiggly lines on. All right, cool. So when you're looking at stuff that sells off, the first normal thing that you should always think about is, oh my God, this thing sold off. What am I going to do next? So don't panic. Just use, watch this. I'm going to show you a neat little trick. What you can do is you can start off with boom, boom, with just a plain old clean chart with nothing on it. And the first thing that you should be thinking about is, okay, it's going to retrace. When it retraces, about where is it going to retrace to? And then it's either going to retrace fully or it's going to retrace 50%-ish, okay, in that area, and then roll back over. So let me show you a neat trick you can do. Now, when you're drawing Fibonacci's, if you're doing a retracement, the most common mistake that a lot of people make is they'll just draw from the wrong place. And it's not like it's going to kill you or anything. It's just going to adjust where your lines are going to kind of lay down, all right? So if we draw from the most recent high, which is up here, and then we go to that low, that's one way to do it, okay? So if we go like from here, so if you're drawing a retracement from a sell-off, you're always going to start from high to low, okay? So we're going to start from high, and we're going to go to a low, okay? So we're going to start from a high and go to a low. Now you can see that's a perfect 50% ambush, and it went just a little bit higher than that. And the zone that you want to sell is from 50% to 61.8% retracement. So this area right here, we call this the ambush zone. So that's if you're drawing from the high of the overall market to that nice, nasty little 1,000-point sell-off. All right, now you can adjust this. Now I probably wouldn't draw it from there personally. What I would do is I would say, okay, let's make it a little bit more accurate. And what we would do is we'd say, hey, from the beginning of the selling to the end of the selling. See how it's nice and clean, everything is red. And now let's see if this kind of plays out in our favor a little bit better. So beginning of the selling, end of the selling, and you can see that is an ambush too. So this one's a little bit more accurate. Now, unfortunately, it took, let me see here, 1, 2, and then 3 attempts at this right here before it rolled back over. All right. So it looked like it was going to retrace up to 17,500, and now it's rolling back over again. Now, if we switch back over to Ichimoku, and we look at @YM, actually, let me go to Power Play. Right here, it's a little bit more accurate. At YM. So we have retraced all the way back up to a 50% retracement, and then we've rolled back over. We're below the turning line, and we're headed back below the standard line. So we're probably going to go to 15,881. Now, notice down here, one way that you can always tell that if you're trending or in a non-trending environment is the ADX. Now, at the bottom, I've got a little special indicator that just gives me the bulls versus the bears speed ratio combined with the ADX. So if this yellow line is above that white line, it tells me that the market is trending. So are we trending, yes or no? Yes, we are. The ADX is 30.58, so that means we're trending. And then if the red is on top, that tells me that the bulls are not in control. It tells me that the bears are in control. So if red's on top, bearish. If green's on top, bullish. So overall, things are what they should be. We're going to sell off. We're going to bounce up to 50%, and then we're going to roll back over. All right. So let's take a look at the ES. Any difference? Let me compare it real quick to at YM, just real quick. Well, it's actually a little bit weaker at ES. So if you see the Dow, it's slightly above the purple line. Let's take a look at ES. On the ES, it is slightly below the purple line, so it's a little bit weaker. Does that make sense? So if I was comparing these two, I'd say, okay, I'm going to short, I'm going to be more bearish, the S&P, and then our first target was this most recent low here at 1892. I would say that move right there on Thursday was close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades. All right. Now, if we're looking for the next target, our next target is going to be right down here. So $1,842. So that's going to be our next target on the S&P. Now, if you're sitting there going, well, what about the SPY? Same thing. SPY is the same thing as the ATS, and it's going to look identical. First, right there's that target. Boom, it hit it. And then the second target is going to be down here in this area, about 185. All right, so let's take a look at the Russell at TF. Okay, let's see here. All right, the Russell is a little bit weaker, both different than the Dow and the S&P, and it looks like it's adding fuel to the fire. So Russell looks good. It's already hit our target of $1,114. Next target is going to be down here at this most recent lows at 1071. So looks like we're getting ready to go substantially lower and test out these lows. Now, will we bounce underneath those lows? Probably, just because everybody's going to be thinking, oh my dear God, what's going to happen if these lows do not hold? That's the first thing people will kind of think in the back of their head. All right, let's go to the at NASDAQ. All right, NASDAQ's a little bit stronger. So it's above the purple, and if you're above the purple, you don't really want to short it until it breaks below that purple line. All right, it has sold off. It did a little bit more than a 50% retracement, and then it rolled back over. And now if it goes below 4202, okay, 4204, what is the time frame of these events? So the time frame of them going lower, so NASDAQ I don't know because it's a little bit stronger, but at TF, you will probably hit these lows in the next 2 weeks on the Russell. I mean, you could hit them as early as next week, but probably in the next 2 weeks, I would say. Let's take a look at the ES. That's a good question. ES, probably next couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And then at YM, next 2 or 3 weeks. All right. Now let's take a look at, there's a couple places people go when they're scared of stuff. All right. So, and correlations are a great thing to trade. Is QQQ being pulled down by biotech? Well, QQQ is in Q, all right? So the QQQs are nothing more than the NASDAQ futures, all right? So yes, but if you've got the Dow, the S&P, and the Russell, all three kind of sucking right now and wanting to go lower, those things they'll pull down the NASDAQ with them. There's no way that the NASDAQ can stay up while the other three act like death warmed over and they're rolling over too. Okay, so what will happen to the NASDAQ is it will get pulled down. It'll go down kicking and screaming, but it'll go down. All right. Now, so if you look at the QQQ, same exact chart setup. Boom, there you go. So the next place that the QQQs are going to go is 90.17. You see bonds correlated with indexes now. All right, so that's a great question, Jim. Not always. Now, correlations are a great thing to mess with, and correlations are great when they're working. Only thing is correlations don't always work, and sometimes they couple and they decouple. So let's take a look at a couple places. If the market sells off, that usually, not always, but usually will pop in the opposite direction, and that's a correlation trade. It's a negative correlation. So there's a couple things that will happen. Either gold will jump up, okay, or the bond market will jump up. You want to look at NQ again? NQ target is at NQ. Right now, next target is going to be 4202, and then after that, on the NASDAQ, it's probably going to take out 4111, and then the lows, 4111. So let's take a look at GC. Has GC moved? It has. So on Thursday, it jumped up more than 20 points, and then on Friday, it pulled back just a little bit. So it closed substantially above the cloud on a one-bar close. So I actually like gold short. Now, there's a couple of interesting things on this chart right now. Number one is it's not trending great. In other words, the ADX right here is at 1755. Do you see that? All right. Yep, and it tested the cloud. It closed above the cloud. So regardless of what I think gold's going to do, I have to go, oh, okay, well, gold is now bullish. But it's not trending great because the ADX is not above 20. So if I trade gold, I'm just not going to get married to it very long. Does that make sense? So the cloud usually acts like a wall. Once it gets through the wall, now you've got new support. So interesting, if we can close up here 2 or 3 more days, like 1 or 2 more days, that'll give me 3 solid closes above the cloud, that'll be a decent rally on gold. Now, we do the same thing that we did back there on the fibs, all right, earlier. We go, okay, if this thing was to retrace about half, where's that going to be? Oh, right there. It may not go above 1,173 points. Now, if we're looking at a little bit longer time frame, then we would adjust our fibs, and we'd say from this high to this low, and we're saying, okay, maybe it's going to go to 1,200. All right. Audio kind of clacky. Hold on just a second. I'll fix that. It could be my voice. I didn't get that messed up. Don't you want to wait for the lagging line to confirm the decision? Good question. You don't always have to, but it is a good ideal. Ideally, you would like to see the lagging line go above the cloud with the price action. So one candle above the cloud is considered an aggressive direction, an aggressive trade. 2 would be moderate, 3 would be conservative, and the lagging line and 3 lines above the cloud would be you're good to go, you should be safe. All right? It doesn't always work, but it's a good filtering mechanism. All right, so let's take a look at the bond market. Okay, so bond market should have been screaming higher, and it just hasn't been. It's actually been trading quite a bit sideways. It's been up 2 points, down 2 points, up 2 points. Okay, I can't decide. Yes, I think I'm going higher. Well, maybe not. Okay, so that's basically the week's trading range in a condensed nut there. So up 2 points, down 2 points, up 2 points. I'm going to trade sideways. No, I think I'm going higher. No, I think I'm going to go back lower. So leave bonds alone for right now, okay? You can see that the yellow line is below the white line, which tells you that this market is not trending. It's kind of choppy, so you want to leave stuff a little bit alone. It's telling you it's a little bit more bullish than bearish because the green's on top, but the yellow line is below the white line, which means it's a non-trending environment. At TY, all right, same type of situation. This is the 10-year note looks a little stronger, but it's in between the purple and the yellow line. Okay, so, and it's also not trending as good as it usually does. What makes you use a 20 on ADX? It's just a threshold. It's a good filter mechanism to let me know, like, if it's above 20, it's probably trending. Below 20, it's probably not trending. So that's how I use that. Is the power shift available for toss, and if so, where do we get it? It is. I've got it available for everything. I'm not here to sell you anything at all. I'm just here for goodwill. I'm just here to give back. I'm not selling you anything. I'm just trying to help you find some good trades. So let me show you a very inexpensive / free way that you can scan stockcharts.com. Let me show you a cool little trick, okay? I'll do it here in just a second. All right, so that's the 30-year. Let's check at FGBL, the Euro Bund. Euro Bund, you can see that is trading sideways. The ADX is below 20, so that yellow line is below that white line, which means it's non-trending, so we're going to leave this market alone. All right, so now I'm going to show you a cool trick. So one of the best ways that I like to scan for stuff is if I'm above the cloud, if I'm newly above the cloud, for me that's a new long. If I'm newly below the cloud, that's a new short. Now, in TradeStation and in TOS, you can actually pull this off by scanning for these things. So if I was going to do this in TradeStation, I would sit here and go, boom, I'd go right-click, insert label row, then I would give me a list of stocks, and I'd go insert symbol list, and then I would go give me the indexes, popular indexes, S&P. Let me see, industry groups. Hold on, there's another one of the S&P 500. Let me find it real quick. Let's go with the, just need a lot of symbols is all I need. There's 133, no, not that one, huh? S&P indexes. Industry groups. Let's go biotech because somebody was asking about those earlier. So be healthcare. There you go, because these are getting smoked to the downside. All right, so this is a list of everything that's getting smoked, pharmaceutical and biotech lots. Then what I would do in TradeStation is I'd go right-click, and then I would go Format All Analysis Techniques. All right. And then what I would do is I'd say Ichimoku Cloud and hit Add, and then just move this down, and then hit OK. Now this is going to add the Ichimoku indicator to radar screen, which is an added cost to TradeStation, but I don't really mind because it makes me more money than it costs me. So then what I would do is I'd widen this out, and what I'd be looking for is I would scan for the price location. So what I would do is I would double left click on that heading there, price location, and then it would tell me newly below the cloud, newly above the cloud. So these were to be newly below the cloud, and this would be newly above the cloud. All right. Now, TOS does it a little bit different way, and if you don't have some good software like TradeStation or TOS, you can do it like this. So everybody go over to this website. This is a free website. It won't cost you a dime. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm going to put this in the chat box really quick for you. So it's stockcharts.com. TOS can do the scan. It's just a little bit harder to do, but yes, it can do it. All right, is everybody on stockcharts.com right now? Because what you're going to scan for is above the cloud or below the cloud. All right, and then I'll take some symbols. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down here on the lower right. You see where it says additional tools on the right-hand side, these little blue squares, rounded off squares? Does everybody see that? Give me a yes if you see that. And then I don't want to go too fast because I'll lose people, and then somebody will ask me to do it again. All right. Who does not see where I'm at? All right, so we're going to go to stockcharts.com, and then under the right-hand side, those little blue squares, we're going to go under additional tools. So right here where my mouse is jumping around, additional tools. And then you're going to go to predefine scan results. Click that one time, and it'll do its little math. And then you see where it says technical indicators? You're going to scroll down here to candlestick patterns. And under candlestick patterns, you'll see one at the very bottom that says Ichimoku patterns. Okay? And then you should see one that says moved above the cloud and moved below the cloud. Now, interesting enough, there's been 156 that have newly moved above the cloud, and there's been 249 moved below the cloud newly. What do you think that means? Oh shit, we're probably going lower, is what it means, right? Because if we've got 250 to the downside break and only 156 to the high side, that's more bearish. Now, here's a trick you can do in a browser, is you're going to take your left hand and you're going to hold down the control key on your keyboard. So hold down control key, and then you're going to left click, moved above the cloud. You're going to left click one time, and then you're going to left click as you're still holding the control key, moved above the cloud. So what that's going to do is that's going to put me another tab on my browser up here. It says predefined scan, moved above the cloud, predefined scan, moved below the cloud. All right. Now, there's only actually two more steps you got to do. Number one, you're going to filter this by volume, so you're going to double left click or single left click, depending on how your browser is set up. And you're going to filter this by volume. Okay. Now, when you're looking at this stuff, do not fall for this nasty little trick right here. This one that says 336,000. Well, 3.3 million contract or shares traded. It's a penny. This one is over the counter. So if you see OTC, that's a pink sheet. Leave that type of stuff alone. You don't need to be trading stuff that's a penny or 5 cents and stuff. Just leave that stuff alone. All right, so the first one we're going to look at is BLPH. It's traded on the NASDAQ, which is a decent exchange, right? It is $6.30, which is a little on the low side. I don't like to trade anything that's less than $10, so I would probably filter this one out and go, yeah, probably just not my gig, right? Just because even though it's got like a ton of volume, I mean, it's got a lot of volume, $6.30 just does not excite me, all right? So I want something that's a little bit thicker. So the first one that catches my eye is Delta and or Salesforce. So let's take a look at Salesforce. CRM, so what we're going to do is we're going to left click this little icon on the far left of the screen. Click it one time. And then even if you don't have decent charts, these guys are going to help you out. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go, all right, overlays. We're going to go Ichimoku full. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tell all the rest of this to say none if we want to. All right. Now, if you want to use the ADX, which I always think is a good idea, what you could do is you could say ADX, and you come up here and say, all right, ADX line, boom. And then you go update. And then you can say, okay, CRM, is it above 20 on the ADX? No, it's 15, but it looks like it's going to start rising. And it just closed above the cloud. Okay, that's a decent long, okay? And then what was the other one that was on that screen earlier? DAL, Delta. Boom, shakalaka. All right, so it went below the cloud, went back above the cloud. It was in the cloud Thursday, but closed above the cloud on Friday. And the ADX is 2061. Not too bad. All right, so this is what you'll do is you'll go through these, and this will give you decent stuff that's moved above the cloud. So here's another one, COST. So let's go here, right here, and then I'll just go COST. There you go. So Costco's ADX is 2668, which means it's trending, all right? And it just closed above the cloud, which is interesting, all right? So it's a decent long. Now, since we have more stuff closing below the cloud than above the cloud, it probably means that the overall market's going to go lower. So I would be super careful on the long side, and I would focus more on the downside. So let's take a look here. Predefined scans move below the cloud. So I'm going to go through this step one more time. Watch what I'm doing. STOCKCHARTS.com. Stockcharts.com. Boom, shakalaka. Scroll down here to predefined scan results. Click one time. And then I'm going to scroll down to candlestick patterns. And then Ichimoku, move below the cloud. I'm going to hold down control and left click. All right, now I've already done this once. I'm just showing you again. Costco's has earnings this coming week as well. Interesting. And now what we've got is we've got a list of stuff that's moved below the Ichimoku cloud at least one bar. All right, most recent. So then what we're going to do is we're going to filter by volume. All right. So SIRG, Sierra Resources Group, OTC, which means it's a pink sheet, which you don't want to trade that stuff. It's a penny per share. Just leave it alone. Okay. Most penny stocks are way, way, way over manipulated, and people actually get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to actually talk about that stuff. You would not believe how many people contact me on a monthly basis going, hey, can you help us promote SIRG? I'm just giving you an example. We'll pay you $15,000 if you'll mention it in your daily videos. I mean, people actually do that stuff. And also, we'll give you a boatload of their shares, too. So it's just really, really weird and really, really unethical. So I recommend that you stay away from that stuff, but just because it is so manipulated. All right, so let's see what we're looking at here. So Peabody Energy, it's traded on the NYSE, looks decent, and it's $1.22 though, right? So you're like, not really my gig. All right, so United Healthcare, NYSE, trading at $75, not too shabby. So let's take a look at UNH. Boom, click on that first little chart button there. And then we're going to come back down here and reformat the chart. So we're going to go, all right, Ichimoku full on the overlay. And then on this overlay, we'll just say, let's say none. And then on this, on the RSI, we'll just say, hey, just give us an ADX so that we know if it's trending or not. Boom. And then set update. All right. Oh, nice. Look at that. So UNH sold off really hard. The ADX is just slightly below 20, which is good enough for horseshoes and hand grenades and trading. So if this thing sells off, the next place it's going to go to is 110.13. So UNH looks like a good short that's about to start trending and go lower to 110. All right, so I'm about out of time. I got like 2 minutes here. I got one clock that says 3 minutes and one clock that says 1 minute. So give me a list of symbols really quick, and I'll do our version of a lightning round here real quick on PowerPlay. All right, cool. XLV, and I'll do this until we're about ready to start. XLV is a good short, stop 69.81, target of 60. CPA, okay, hold on. CPA. Good short, stop at 48.56, target of 20. NUGT, Nugget is a good short with a stop of 381 and a target of 0. CPB, boy, that's a hard one at 8 in the morning. That is a good looking long. That's a pretty chart for a long chart too. Campbell Soup. Long at 51.67, stop 50.84 and a target of 55. ADP. ADP is a good short with a stop at the top of that cloud and a target of 75. GDX. GDX is a good short with a stop of 14.39 and a target of $11. INCY. It's going to be an aggressive short because it just went below the cloud. Stop will be 118, target will be 85. PCLN. Price line is hurry up and wait. It's sideways. Leave that one alone. Caterpillar is just a short. All right. Caterpillar, you're going to short it once it breaks through 64.61. DEC, Deckers Outdoor, short with a stop of 61.21 and a target of $55. I got 1 more minute. Your method of determining the target, please. I round it off in my head based upon the amount of risk I'm doing. I multiply it by 2 or 3 is how I come up with the target. BAC, Bank of America, is a short with a stop of 16.46 and a target of $14. All right, at KE. Weird, I don't have access to that one. I don't even know what that is. Let me see here. TLT, TLT is non-trending, so I would just leave it alone. It's tightly correlated to bonds, so just leave it alone for a little bit. AAN is non-trending. ADX is below 20. Just leave that alone a bit. It looks like a better long than short, though. NFLX. Netflix is an interesting proposition here. The ADX is trending. The price action is below the cloud, which usually means it's bearish, but the lagging line is telling you another story. The lagging line is going, I don't know. Thursday it closed above the turning line and went to the standard line, which is a good trade, and now it's back below the standard line, which usually means it's going to drop back down to the yellow line. So Netflix is a hurry up and wait and watch that thing. BABA is just a short. It's always going to be a short for a little bit. This is just nasty, and people that bought into this IPO are, you just got to be careful on this thing. It's going to go lower. Stop's going to be like 63.15. The thing's probably going to drop below $40. MSFT, little Microsoft. Sideways, ADX is too low to take advantage of. It's 15.36. And then BIIB. All right, BIIB, last one here, is a short. It is trending. ADX is above 20. Bears are in control. Short it at now at 284. Stop will be 305, and target will be in the area of 200. All right, that is it. That is all for me. I'm going to turn things over to Jeanette. You guys have a good crew of speakers today. Make sure you take good notes. You are definitely dedicated, getting up at 8:30 in the morning with me after I had a long night of waiting up on my kids for homecoming to come home. So I think we've got 15 or 20 kids here right outside the Bat Cave in the basement. Enjoy your webinar. Good luck. I hope it helps. I will see you on the next one, and enjoy the webinar.
Well, thank you, Hubert, and I appreciate you getting out of bed on this early morning after your long bourbon homecoming wait up night. We are also in homecoming here in Alabama, and so we didn't have too much drama around here last night because it was just the game, and I was at the game. But you know, tonight's when our fireworks occur, because tonight's date night for homecoming, and I have 2 juniors that will be taking their little women to the party. So anyway, I'm sure it's not going to be a late night for me, so hate it for you that it was your last night, but guess we're about to be in the same little boat together. It's not far for the course. All right, everybody. Good morning. How are y'all doing? I'd like to welcome you to TradeThirsty's September event. Our Toast to Traders is something we put on every couple of months here for those who have been dedicated and following us on this journey we call TradeThirsty. Hubert and I started this company a couple years back with the hope and goal to bring you good quality content about once a month. And so the Saturday event, we try to host that for people who can't make the events that we end up doing during the week and the weeknights. So let me see if I can share my screen clean. Can everybody see that PowerPoint? Give me some yeses. I ain't even asked y'all where y'all are from. I always love to see where people are from. I'm in Central Time, so it's 8 here. And while I didn't pull a Hubert last night, I certainly probably had my late night fill. Larry Pesavento, how are you doing, Mr. Pesavento? We always get excited when we see some people from the mix that we know in the industry come see our events. Ontario, okay, Arizona. I was just out in Arizona a couple months ago, and I'm not going to lie, that heat, I mean, I'm from the South, and we get hot and humid here, but that heat, whew, that'd take your breath away kind of heat. San Jose, Chicago, Green Bay, NYC in the house, England, Nashville, Tennessee. I love me some Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a big Bobby Bones fan, so I listen to his radio show out of Nashville, and I've been to some of that Dave Ramsey stuff too. Learned a lot from him. Roll Tide. Somebody just said Roll Tide. Hey, it's game day, right? It's game day, people. Bama better win today. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna make that my Twitter mood today. Bama better win today. That's all I gotta say. All right. So I asked Hubert to come in and kick us off this morning. The market's been a little crazy if you've been participating here of late, and I thought it would be important for him to get up and come chat with y'all a little bit before we kicked off the regular event. I'm sure he's thanking me right about now as he's crawling back in his bed. But I'll be with y'all for the next 4 hours. Our first speaker today is going to be Brian Stickney. Brian and I go way back. We've known each other for a long time in this industry. He currently works with Complete Currency Trader, and him and James Edward over there do a great job at their training, their education, and their support. So a great team they've put together over there, and so I'm really happy. He has not spoken on here before. Brian has not, so this will be his first time. Price Headley, big trends. Always hard to get Price on the schedule because he's a busy dude and he likes his golf. So I'm hoping that our 10 a.m. Eastern time in here doesn't mess up his tea time for today. And he actually lives in Lexington, right outside of where Hubert lives. So when we go to Kentucky, we try to hook up and see Price and spend some time together. 11 a.m. we've got Peter Schultz, who is also a good friend of mine, Cash Flow Heaven. And then we're going to round it out with another person who is new to our events. First, this will be her first time speaking here, Ms. Schneider. She'll be on here from marketgauge.com. And so that'll be our last hour. And the way I try to do it is I give them 1 hour. And we kick it off. We give them one solid hour, and we try to stay on track. We do record. Just can't promise it because sometimes technology steals it from us, but we'll do our best to make sure that we provide you with a good quality recording sometime early next week.